Hey everyone, if you're watching or not watching, about to watch, welcome to episode 1 of Ladies Talk Tech. My name is Blagita Botiliero and I will be your host. Ladies Talk Tech is a really new twist on talking about technology. We're coming to you from different parts of Chicago, and the whole purpose of Ladies Talk Tech, also known as LTT, is to provide more of a layman's type of conversation when it comes to technology from a really interesting demographic. Women, who'd have thunk? Tonight, on Sunday night, I have Britton Picciolini joining me today. And Britton works at Google, as a matter of fact, happen to be friends. And Britton, say hello.
Hello, everyone. So nice to see you, Bully Pizza.
You too. Thanks for joining me last minute. I asked her a couple days ago to join, and she said, oui. So that's great. And we also have Vino. So anyone that's watching this now or later, it is okay for ladies to talk about technology and drink the good stuff, whether you're drinking beer or wine or scotch. And hopefully in the next episodes of Ladies Talk Tech, maybe, somebody will want to send us some wine or brews, or some old scotch would be fabulous because we don't mind scotch, or bullet bourbon, just a hint. Quick background on who we are. Wah, wah. Uh, what was I going to say? Oh, so Blagitza, again, I've been in the space here in Chicago for a while. You can, Google me, whatever it may be. But as of late, I just started a consultancy called Zlato Digital, which is a social and digital consultancy here in the city, and working on cool projects like this. And Miss Britton has been with Google for the last 11 years. Anything else you wanted to add, Miss Britton?
Gosh, it just seems like dog years, doesn't it? So Google for 11 years, IBM prior to that, and then and a little bit of graphic design really, really early on. But yeah, it's really just been tech for the last 15 years.
So for the last 15 years, your combination of your IBM experience and now with Google, what are some of the most interesting ahas you've seen as it relates to the way that women look at technology? The show is called Ladies Talk Tech, and what have you noticed, or what are the holes that you've seen when it comes to the whole world of technology and chicks?
Well, I certainly see a whole lot more women, which is nice. Back in IBM days, we certainly didn't have as many folks, and I've always been on the sales side, didn't have as many women in the space at all when I was at IBM moons ago. So we're talking 98-ish, 98 to 2002. Certainly not as many women. Now coming to Google, a lot more women, which is fantastic. And I think what I'm seeing is, women not only say, it's okay to be super excited about technology. It's moved into that kind of fun space where you can be excited about your gadgets. You can talk about your gadgets. Guys don't, look at you strange when you're starting to talk speeds and feeds and, megapixels of my camera and my phone and things like that. I think they're excited when women get as much into it as they are. So it's been nice.
One thing I've noticed when it comes to big brands, and you see all these stats about women on social media, women using Facebook, women using Instagram. I'm going to sneeze a little bit. Allergies. Sorry.
Bless you.
I can't let out my sneezes. It's the weirdest thing. Since I've been a kid, growing up, my family always thought that I was sick, and it turns out I have regular allergies just like everybody else.
Right.
But I was too afraid to sneeze for them to hear me sneeze, so I've kept my sneezes in all this time.
My husband does the same thing. What's with that? I always think he's going to bust a blood vessel.
I don't know. I'm not good at letting it out at all. One interesting thing that I've noticed when it comes to technology is when women talk about it, or it's talked when technology is thrown in the category of women, it seems like it's very limited to, with all due respect to even what I do, social media. Women are on Facebook, and women are starting to use Google Plus more, or Instagram. And I always wonder, that's great, but aren't there so many other pieces of technology that we could talk about as women, that we use as women, whether it's apps or my former employer, Motorola, the phones that we use? I just find that fascinating that there just seems to be so much that might go over people's heads, but they'd love to know about it.
Well, I think technology, it pervades so many areas where people don't call it tech, quote unquote, right? Like,
True.
I just got a new washer and dryer, and that thing I feel like could make me breakfast. Like, it's got so many different modes and cool things and delays, and like for me, like that's technology that I love and changes my life. I got a new dishwasher. That dishwasher is unbelievable, and I know that there's technology baked into that makes it so fantastic. You know what I mean? So I think that
Yeah.
there's ways that tech is a part of our lives, especially for women that we don't consider like quote unquote tech. Like they're not writing about it in in Wired magazine potentially. But all I know is the technology that is a part of my washing machine and my dishwasher. I don't know what I'd do without it. Like that's but yes, I think social media is definitely what we think of. Like that's kind of popular tech. But those other, my learning thermostat is technology, which I love. So I just think we need to
It's
broaden the
interesting because
category.
but it seems to all go back into utility because
Mm-hmm.
it's solving a problem,
Yep.
and it's almost as if it's we as women are talking about because it's proven. I know there's some scientific study. I keep wanting to find them. I think there's tons of them that women are more efficient. We can do more things at once. We can multitask, all that good stuff, and I totally believe it. But I have to say, and it's not limiting anybody watching that will watch, when you layer in being a parent, which I know that you're a parent
Yep.
as well,
Yep.
I find the need for efficiency and utility even more so extreme. And I sometimes don't think about, the chips or the processors of the phone that I'm using.
Yeah.
I just get upset if it's not fast enough.
Right.
I'm still, nursing my little one as much as I can, and I do so much with my phone when I'm nursing him. Yeah, we're spending time together, we're bonding and I'm nursing him. You look at each other and have that moment. But then I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, okay, I need to get some diapers on Amazon. I have to get my see what's on sale at Target and put those coupons in my Keep app via Google Drive to make sure. So I'm doing all
Right.
this with one thumb, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
putting copying and pasting, but I wonder how many more people are doing that, and yet brands and companies aren't taking advantage of that behavior to talk
Absolutely.
to women in that moment. And I guess, well, that's why all these different apps and I'm sure startups are forming. But yeah, I find that interesting too in terms of what that really means on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's so much. You're right. Utility. What it comes down to is I just want things to work. I don't necessarily need to know the insides of every one of the gadgets that I own. I like to know some things. Like there's some things that I know I want to know, potentially about my
Yep.
phone resolution or my. That I do. I'm a photographer, so I like megapixels, and there are things that just interest me that I want to know. But for the most part, I just want it to work. I don't need to know all of the individual pieces of it. I love using it, and utility is by
Hmm.
far and away the thing that means the most to me. I appreciate what it takes in the background, for it to work. But I don't necessarily need all that. But I do think there's loads and loads of helpful things that women in general are not taking advantage of because the marketing and the message isn't there to say, hey, did you know, that, oh, by the way, you could actually do your grocery list and do all of these things while you're nursing because we know that you've got very little time in the day. So,
Yeah, and I think, and that's, and then when we talk about online marketing and targeting, one of my former lives when I was at Orbitz, I did, ad serving on the
right.
online marketing team, and having that in my background, and as a practitioner today, I actually enjoy if an ad talks to me. I don't, people call it Big Brother. I enjoy the retargeting.
Yeah.
Some of the Facebook ads I see are a little wonky, but I know someone's doing their job. A company that does a really great
Right.
job is Zappos. The way that Zappos retargets, just simple retargeting. But
Mm-hmm.
if someone knew that behavior that you mentioned, and it's got to be possible because I read an article, it was in Business Week about Target. I'm sorry, Target.
Yes.
Um, and what is it about Target where you go and you cannot spend less than $100
That's my clip too. $100. I can't get out of there.
every time I go?
Yeah, that's my clip.
Yeah, but but there's this amazing diagram in Business Week about the layout of Target. First of all, how Target's outlined, so when you're shopping, you know where to go. But secondly, another article I saw, I think was it the Atlantic, about the Atlantic writer I think it was Alexis, the tech writer, and they were expecting their first child, and Target knew before they announced they were preggers because of the shopping behavior that they personified at
Yep.
different stages of his wife's pregnancy correlated with a bigger database and big data. I
Right.
found that fantastic. So
Yep.
if they can do that by shopping behavior of someone ahead of time, then maybe the coupons I'm getting in the app, a discount on kid stuff or certain items, maternity, at one time died off. I'd love to see more of that. So if any brand watches this at some point, I don't find it Big Brotherish. I find it in the heat of the night when it's dark and it's just me, especially when I was a new mom, someone to understand what I was going through. I would love that. Would love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think I do see all the time on Facebook people going, okay, these ads are following me. But for me, like if I was shopping for something and I got distracted, something came up, I got a phone call, an email, something I had to attend to right away, and I dropped that shopping excursion, but I do really want that purse. And all of a sudden I'm on some site, 2 days later, and I get retargeted to the purse that I was looking at. Like, yes, I need to get the purse. I've
Yeah.
got 5 minutes. I need to go buy it right now. So I'm like
Yeah.
you. I totally appreciate it because stuff happens, and
Yeah.
there's a reason I was shopping for something.
So then let's go into the next piece of our chat today, our first, kind of kickoff chat with Ladies Talk Tech, and talk about some hot topics as relates to what people are talking about in technology. What we're going to try and do every week is, kick off the chat with, what updates that we have or who the panelists will be. The panelists will change up every week. Hopefully Britton comes back. You'll always see my mug, so, live with it. But then we'll talk about that along with some high-level news of the week, and then talk about gadgets that we enjoy, and then hopefully as more folks start to contribute and what have you, we answer questions or have other guests on the show that are small business owners. The sky's the limit. So it'll help us understand what to put in this show as you participate. So the next phase of the show is, the topics, and I'd love to talk about 3D printing. So what used to be this niche topic of these machines that are so uber expensive are getting more manageable, and it basically is a printer. It's a printer you would see at, FedEx or Kinko's or your printer at home, but instead it whips out three-dimensional objects. And I think, Brittany, I think there's a printing place in Chicago, kind of
There's
by the
one in River
Merchandise
North.
Mart.
Totally, yeah. It's on
Yes.
River North. I walk by it all the
Yeah.
time. That's
Have you
right.
been yet?
I haven't. No, I mean I've seen 3D printing at actually TEDx Midwest or TEDx City City, TEDx Midwest. I saw they had one there, so I saw them kind of playing around with it. But I haven't been into the store. It's called 3D Experience.
Oh yeah, and then Dita Von Teese, she's
Mm.
the
Yeah, yeah,
famous wah wah wah
yeah,
wah
yeah. Pin up model walking.
burlesque. She wore a 3D printed dress.
Mm,
It
I didn't
was
see
this.
that.
It was yes. It's we'll post the link after this, but
Yeah.
she wore a dress made of this amazing material with this company called Shapeways. It's called Shapeways, and
Mhm.
it was laser cut to her body. It was just thump,
Wow.
thump, 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 thump.
Right.
And there was this amazing article I read about the fashion industry and what does 3D printing mean for fashion and what does it mean for jewelry designers. So would that change the way that you shopped? Would you go to a 3D printer, and I would love to get a bobblehead of my husband, for example. You
I've
know,
seen people getting that. I've seen people sitting, they've got them right in the window, bless their hearts. But
see?
these people are sitting there in the windows getting their mug done in a bust, in a small little bust or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think there's the novelty piece of it right now. But I think the actual applications, I had heard a story recently where some young girls had designed jewelry using a 3D printer and then sold it and were, I don't know if it was benefiting some nonprofit that they were associated with or something, but just I thought that application was so great that these little girls were making these little bracelets that, other little girls would like to wear, right? It's not fantastic
Yeah.
jewelry you'd see at Nordstrom's, but it's something that an 8, 9, 10-year-old little girl would wear, and they were selling this stuff and, benefiting another organization that needed the money. I just thought that was fantastic. So again, we talk about girls getting excited about technology. I think that's an awesome way to do it, right? A 3D printer that can
Yeah.
make jewelry.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
And there was in that piece about fashion, they're talking about the jewelry industry, and a couple of jewelers had said they used it and they loved it. A couple of really high-end jewelry designers said that they liked seeing the changes when it came to the silver or the casting of the jewelry to make it unique and different,
Yeah.
and thus they wouldn't use it as much. But what really set apart the article, two things for me. One, once more natural fabrics are 3D printable.
Mm-hmm.
What will be the acceptance rate of designers using that for small to mid-sized productions, especially if you're a small or up-and-coming fashion designer, right?
Right.
So if you want to test something out, and someone like me who can't draw for squat, how cool would it be to envision something in my head, like maybe my 10-year wedding dress? after 10 years of marriage, maybe we go someplace secretive and don't take anybody and just go because we had literally the version of my big fat
Right.
Greek wedding in the Balkan Macedonian way. That was my wedding. I loved it. Love you, mom and dad. It was 400 people.
Oh dear.
It was great, but it was a blizzard. We got married a year to the day, which was great, easy to remember. It was International Women's Day, of course. I get married on International Women's Day, but it was so cold and so many people. So yeah, it'd be nice to
Yeah.
use this printer maybe
Yes.
to juxtapose this dress that I would wear.
And
I
I
don't know.
just
I
think
just
like custom sizing. For me, like I have a hard time with sizing, right? I mean,
yeah
I have a bit of an hourglass for a shape, but I mean, I have a hard time with the top stuff. If like there's not lycra or some sort of spandex material, I'm not getting the girls in, you know. And so like, please don't spit your wine. But you know what I mean? Just to have some possibilities for custom sizing for something that would look nice, that I wouldn't have
yeah.
to go and get tailored. I would buy it off the rack and then go get tailored just to like take my measurements. Here's what I'd like for it to look like. You know, done.
That's why I wonder if a lot of the fashion elite, some of the pieces of the article are very much, oh, I'm trying to fake a French accent. We would never use that. It's fashion. It must be unique and it's made and la 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 la. But I think what you just said is a great challenge to that because I think about shopping all the time. Just had a second baby. This is too big. This is too small. I don't want to buy a whole new second wardrobe because that's inefficient to me.
Right?
Um, and it's clothes are priced under Goodwill, but then I'm thinking, okay, there's a fly in my face. Sorry. If there's a way that I can just say I need like 4 pairs of pants that look like this and
Mm-hmm.
2 shirts look like that, go into Bloomies because I think is it called Uniqlo in New York?
No, no.
It's an Asian brand,
Yeah.
UNIQLO. Well, they
Okay.
have these new fitting apparati where you stand like this and it tells you what the shirt looks like on you. It's
Oh.
kind of like a hologram
Yeah,
from
yeah.
what's that cartoon with the holograms when we were growing up? Remember that cartoon Gem?
Oh,
It
Jem,
was
right.
like Gem and the holograms, yeah. So they have that, and then I think I saw an article about Bloomingdale's that had something similar where
Mm-hmm.
it cut your body. So to your point, I think that is the future. I think that women are getting really sick and tired of, whether we're apple, pear, and you can see the magazines. If you're a pear shape, wear this. If you're
Right.
apple, wear that. That never works for me, ever, ever, because I'm short-waisted. I always have to have these things, taken
Mm-hmm.
in, my
Yeah.
shoulder straps. And men, and their bodies obviously are straighter and they don't have the that we have.
Right.
But I'm jealous of my husband. He could just go in and say, "Give me this waist and this
They got
inseam,"
yeah.
and
They got
done.
three numbers and
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
yeah. So I think it would be nice to have a little bit of a revolt. And I realized this when I was preggers because when you're preggers, they have the adjustable pants,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and so do babies. And I thought, this is a crock because why doesn't the regular women's industry of clothing, you go to Thanksgiving dinner, you ate too much, just let it
Right.
out a little bit, and
Get
have
the pants, belt pants. Yeah. Right.
have the belt in the pants. Wah, wah. It's that time of the month, no problem. You want to get rid of the muffin top?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And this is when I realized that they're out to get us because that's how we consume and buy more.
Yeah.
And all of this with the 3D printing, this topic that we started at, coupled with efficiency and utility, maybe we can start a trend and demand that the Gaps of the world and bananas, if they can guarantee a good source of the material and where it's sourced,
Yeah.
and they have these machines in house, oh hell yeah, I'd be all
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah. Customization coupled with being able to actually pick, choose, like select. I think all of those things would be absolutely fantastic.
You heard it here, people. For those that watch this telecast later, LTT said it first. 3D printing with fashion, customizable clothes, and adjustable pants. We're going to be like the Sarah Blakely from Spanx.
Infomercials next.
Yes. Oh, at 5 o'clock in the morning. So all those new moms can look at the infomercial and see us talking about,
Right?
do you feel overweight after you eat Thanksgiving dinner? Did you eat too many turkey legs? Well, we have the solution for you. Expand pants.
Expand pants. Absolutely. Yeah.
I've only had half a glass of wine, I swear to
I'm
God.
with you.
I've
I'm
only
with you. But
half a glass of wine. It's Sunday.
it is
The
it's
newsroom's
Sunday
on
evening.
tonight. you watch the newsroom?
You know what? I started watching it and I loved it, and I don't know what happened, if I was moving or what was going on, but I want to go back and watch where I left off in season one because I thought it was fantastic, and I was worried it was going to get let go. Totally not technology related here, but I was
Yeah.
worried it was going to get cut. It didn't get cut by the skin of their teeth. But I think it's an amazing show.
It really is. And the way that they incorporate things like Twitter and forums
Mm-hmm.
in correlation to that year,
Yep.
because I always wait to see how quick a producer of a show or movie can incorporate what technology we're using of that day. Which
Right.
brings me to my next topic of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, now with video,
Yes.
video, video. So there was Twitter and Vine. I
Right.
gotta say, let me know what your experience has been. I kind of used Vine, kind of didn't, but I used to, and I don't think I have OCD, but because I'm very much a planner. I would try and plan these 6 seconds for dear life, and then I would.
Do I have the right lighting for my 6 seconds? Yeah.
To tell you a 5-month old baby, do it again, do it again,
Mm-hmm.
do it again, do it again. So
Right.
Instagram and again the attachment to Facebook. What are your thoughts on that with the video component?
I think video's interesting. Like you, I see the vines that some people create, and I'm like, oh, that seems really exciting. And frankly, I haven't seen a ton of Instagram videos.
Yeah,
People I follow on Instagram still seem to be using mostly still pictures and then Vine for video. I haven't seen a ton. But regardless, like a 6 second little snippet, right? It's like I know some people are just boom, 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 and it looks like you say, ADD. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's these fast cuts. I feel like what MTV did years ago. And I started playing with it, and I was like, okay. But what I find myself doing is I'm holding it so long, and I never edit anything. I'm just like, oh, I'm in 6 seconds of my life.
yeah,
I'm not going brr, 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 like
yeah,
I see some people doing so creatively, and it feels like, okay, I feel
yeah.
like there should be a warning. People with um, some sort of an issue with seizures, or like they should not be looking at vines. Like, you know what I mean?
I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh. That's bad. I'm
But
sorry.
sometimes
Sorry.
I think, wait, am I supposed to get what's going on here? Because that's too much all at once in 6 seconds.
I do. I mean, I like the idea of Instagram. I've seen some brands that have done Instagram really well. I saw an example with Lululemon, also known as "I see your pants, I see your booty." Um, someone has to buy that. Someone must have owned that domain name,
Right.
www.iseeyourbooty.com.
I was,
And you
I,
go to the website, and it's like Lululemon pants.
I
Why did I
see,
think of that?
I see your
Um,
undies.
I've never owned a pair of Lulus.
I have not
I
either.
all my friends that have them, it's like a religion. They say they're fabulous. They suck it all in. But I think sometimes when I'm out and about and I see, with all due respect, if y'all wear Lulus, nothing against Lulus, go
I
Canadian
heard there's
companies,
great. Right.
led by women. But when I sometimes see a bunch of people together wearing Lulus, and then they all have the Lulu bags and the Lulu jackets, it's like a Lulu posse, and it's whoa, it's just a little bit too much because I feel like wow, I have to maybe cut my grocery bill in half just to get the whole
Well,
outfit
that's
to
it.
join
That's
you
what I'm
all at the
saying.
Costco.
Yeah, I see all that, and I go, I could have dinner at a really nice restaurant with my husband for that. So
Yeah, but I
we
guess
probably would need. I'd need the Lululemons after the dinner, but whatever.
no expanded pants.
Yes, no, no, yes.
Um, but the Lulu folks, what they did with Instagram, which is really interesting, they took the 15 seconds and incorporated it with a woman doing one yoga pose. It was a
Okay.
yoga pose, but it was edited in different locations, and it was something like where the world can take you. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like her doing that. It was like, but it was like, the St. Louis, arch is behind you in Chicago, and it was the same continuous pose, and that's how they did Instagram with the
That's
video, and
cool.
so I think more brands are taking that on versus people,
Yeah.
which I think will be a whole separate LTT discussion about brands and consumers and how brands are really trying, maybe next week, how brands are really trying to talk to consumers, especially women, using technologies that they know or think that we use more than others. So
This weekend, I
I
was
haven't.
having brunch with my husband and was reading Red Eye, the Chicago.
Wait,
Yes.
where'd you go? If you're in Chicago, if
Oh,
anyone from Chicago watching this, we have to talk about food. Where did you go?
Wishbone.
Oh, so good.
It's in my hood.
So
So we
good.
were at
So
Wishbone.
good.
I was looking at Red Eye, and they had this bingo. So it was a whole bingo, and it had all these things that you could see in the city, right? A couple kissing, or a bike rider, or like all of these things that you could see throughout the city. And what they wanted you to do is take a picture, do an Instagram with the hashtag of that bingo square,
Yep.
and like red, there was some red eye, hashtag for it or something, so they'd know it was bingo. And so you would be playing bingo with Instagram with this page on Red Eye. So I really enjoyed, because some of them were really funny. Some of them were really funny. But I just really enjoyed
That's a
that they
cute
were
idea.
encouraging the interactivity, of take this
Yeah.
picture and share it. It almost feels like people of the CTA, if you follow that on Facebook. That is
Yeah.
hysterical. But,
The yeah, that the people of the CTA. I mean, I always wonder if some of those pictures break rules. And for those of you not in Chicago watching this, because you're going to go back to the archives of LTT once we hit episode 100 to see how we started in our homes and kitchen. This is my kitchen. You're
my
gonna of
kitchen
course
as
you go
well,
back and
yes.
check it out. Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's my kitchen.
See, you know that we ladies in Chicago like to have our food and wine, hence the wine glasses. Um, but what was my wait, what was I going with that?
People of
Wait.
CTA.
Yes, people of the CTA. Some of those, there's a Facebook group to Britain's Point called People of the CTA, and there are some wicked, hilarious photos of people just doing things on the CTA that happen because we're a very, very vibrant and
And
unique city
CTAs
of
obviously are,
Chicago.
public transportation or train,
Yes,
elevated train,
yes.
yeah. But my goodness,
Um,
crazy nuts.
I and I think the hashtag, we're jumping a bit, but we're still talking about Instagram, but the hashtag and how that started with Twitter, of course, and now incorporated by Facebook, which owns Instagram. I feel a lot of technology is just helping us remember copying is a wonderful thing. People doing different things. I mean, it is. I mean, Facebook started. I mean, Twitter started it, and I will say that I've said this a couple times, and I'll just leave it at that. I remember talking to an executive, a marketing executive, and just that's it. And I had asked this person what they thought about putting hashtags on ads because I said, we live in a hashtag society whereby you take the bus, you watch Bravo, and you see these hashtags, and this person just really wasn't a fan of it and said that why waste time doing that? And I found that ironic because after that conversation, I see hashtags all over the place.
Right,
The lower right hand corner of television sets and print ads, and it feels like we're conditioned as a society like Pavlov's dog. Hashtag equals start the conversation. And with your bingo example with a red eye, that designates to the user, this is how you interact in the conversation, this is how you flow. And going back to the topic of what this chat is, ladies talk tech, I know that my suburban cousins in Detroit, in those metro suburbs, know about that hashtag and use it because of how this trickles down from a small amount of people. I just find that fascinating how this little icon has become the colloquial piece for conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a couple of things, right? I mean, the hashtag says, I want you to find me here, right? I'm talking
Mhm.
about this, and I want
Mhm.
you to find me. So it's a way for people, obviously, to find things that are, in a common area. But I also think that, for those of us that are in the digital space, what most people don't recognize is that's tracking, right? This is for a way for all of those technologies
Yep.
that just aren't sophisticated enough to go down like we are with, search ads, for example. Like, hashtags are a way for people to measure that interactivity, that absorption,
Yeah.
all of that. So hashtags serve double purpose on both sides of the coin, without a doubt. And I think the nice thing, probably from the marketing standpoint, is that it's not obvious that that's really what marketers are trying to do, is figure out what the hell's going on with the message they're putting out there.
Yep.
But it serves both purposes, which works well.
And I love that you said that. I love that you said that because, and well, again, we have so many things we can talk about in LTTville. One of my friends that was going to join us today, Kedra, she's actually at Pitchfork right now. She couldn't be on the show
Oh,
tonight.
yeah.
Kedra is a big analytics nerd, quite frankly. We both love digital analytics, and so we talk about this all the time, that so many things when it comes to digital and social are trackable and can be tracked, and that hashtag is that way for a database to gather the conversation, and then you take who's talking about it, stick it in another database, and look at the correlations between user. And it sounds scary for those that watch this for the first time, but there have been some news blurbs about certain gentlemen whose last name has something like snow in it. We won't go into the back and forth and teeter totter of what he had done or did or maybe have done, but since that happened, this whole eclipse of privacy and data, I find great on both sides because I think consumers need to know that I'm a consumer. I know what's out there and what's being filtered, but as a marketer, those tools are what I use to make things palatable and have that ROI for the clients I work with to prove that what they're spending their money on is actually working. And for those of you that want to do digital media and social media and people say, oh, it's so hard to track, bull. I say bull. It's trackable. You can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Anything
absolutely.
else on Instagram?
Yeah,
Any other
I
thoughts on
think,
Instagram?
my kids are 18 and 20, so what I'm finding with Instagram is that it seems like it's the next place that kids are going post Facebook. Like
Mm-hmm.
when once
Yeah.
you're breathing on me, sweetie, move your mic here. It sounds like a ball.
Oh, sorry. First show testing out. See, I
No.
moved it to the glass of wine, and you see what's my priority is the vino.
I'm like, I feel
Yeah.
like I've got hot breath on me. But so, like I said, my kids are older, and so what I'm finding is that they've moved away from Facebook, and they are really doing more Instagram because they
Yeah.
feel like they can have that Facebook. Their grandparents are on Facebook, frankly. Their parents are on Facebook. Okay, move. Just where it's close
What?
to your nose. Move. I don't know, something move it out or something. Oh, I love you. You're
This
so
is the
cute. It
best.
wasn't that way
This
for forever.
this is
I'm like,
this is the best thing ever. It's just every day. Every day. Please. I'm sorry. The folks over at wait, what's that company called? Wait, let me think of the company. Hold on. They own Dignation. They ran Dignation. It
Revision
was a
three.
podcasting company. Yeah,
Revision
Revision
three.
3, please. Revision 3, just wait. Just wait, Revision 3. We're just getting started. Silicon Valley, love you, props.
Gonna be
But we're
all
just getting
over.
started.
Yeah, all over you soon. So
G4, please. Um, Nerdist, you watch out.
I'm in. I'm in.
Chad Hardwick, you watch out. Just
Chad
topical.
Hardwick. You know what? I have the biggest heart for Chad Hardwick. I mean, seriously, love that
What a
guy.
story. I know we're
Oh,
diverting
I
topics,
know.
but what a
Sorry.
story. But
Oh,
so a lot of you ladies don't know, maybe separate topic, but the way that Chad Hardwick, Jenny McCarthy's co-host from Singled Out, has used social media in the digital age to build this amazing nerdist company is just awesome sauce. But going back to your kids, so
anyway, yeah.
how
So
is
they're
it,
they're they're leaving
when you're
Facebook.
Facebooking,
They're leaving Facebook. So here's the
but
kicker,
do
right?
they
My husband and I are pretty wired, right? I mean, all things considered, we're pretty wired for your average teen parent, right? So we were always on,
I think you're probably
yeah,
I was gonna
I
say,
mean, we
I think
are.
that just for people to know, I think that you're probably one of the most wired couples I know. There's very few wired. No, I know wired couples as a husband and wife and parents, but you guys are probably one of the most wired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've always been involved with whatever, whatever MySpace, and then we went to Facebook, and then there was Twitter. And I remember when the kids were on like Zanga. Remember Zanga and like Habbo Hotel? Do you ever remember hearing about Habbo Hotel? So
No,
the
I
kids,
remember Cityville and Farmville and Gotta Get a Bill. Have you seen those? Have you seen those SNL skits with Justin Timberlake when he dresses up like the hot
I like the
dog?
banana, I guess. Bring it
Something
on
something coming
down
out
to
of
Somethingville.
Somethingville.
One of those are my absolute favorites. Can't wait to see him tomorrow night, by the way. If he's,
You're
if
going
he's
to?
watching, oh hell yeah, honey, I'm going. So Justin
I'm
Timberlake and
bringing
Jay
sexy
Z are
back.
coming to Chicago tomorrow to Social Field, and yes, I will be there. Can't wait.
I'm very
Anyway,
excited. Kids,
so
yes.
kids back in the day, they would be on these certain technologies, and my husband and I would be like one ahead of them, right? So they'd be on Habbo Hotel, we'd be on MySpace, and they're like, we've never gone to MySpace. Yeah, okay, so then where are they? They're on MySpace. And then we would move to Facebook. We're never going to Facebook, and there they are, right? So my husband and I are on Twitter, and the kids are like, no way, that's never happening. Where are they? Yeah, they're on Twitter. So it was always like my husband and I were one step ahead of the kids, which I have to say, a good thing when you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on with your kids. Now I am
Yeah.
seeing right now they're moving ahead. Okay, what's the breathing? It's something,
Am I breathing?
yeah. I don't know if it's maybe it's when your mouth is closed or something. Anyway, so they are now moving ahead of us. So now I go visit my son in college and he says, hey, have you heard about this app called Lulu? No. And then he tells me
Oh,
about it.
yeah.
Tells me about it. It's only for women, right? And you have to log in with your Facebook, and you can only be in it if you're a woman. And it's basically a black book. So
Mhm.
women go in,
Yeah.
rate men, leave their, little quotes or interesting things about men that they've dated, if they were a good date, if they were nice, if they were a good kisser, like all of these things. And I'm like, okay, all of a sudden I realized I've moved out of a demographic. I'm completely out of a demographic that would know anything
Yeah.
about Lulu. Nothing. Or Snapchat. Like Snapchat, that scary. And I'm
Yeah, I never.
moms, I'm like, are your kids on Snapchat? Because they've got like, anywhere from 10 to 14, 15 age kids. And I said, do you know about Snapchat? And they look at me. No. I'm like, go home. Ask your kids about Snapchat. They're on Snapchat. And they're like, what is it? I'm like, just go home and talk to your kids about it. You should know that they're on Snapchat.
Is this? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
hear
you're
me?
good. Yeah.
Okay. I tried Snapchat. Wait, now it's in my nose. I tried Snapchat once just to see what it was about, and you know why I stopped using it? Because the ghost scared me. I just realized.
Okay.
Wait. I realized I'm sweaty. I decided to wear a scarf and dress up for our thing.
Just,
I just realized,
it's
wow.
88 degrees outside right now, for heaven's sakes.
This is wow. This is really toasty because I got this scarf on. Um, but yeah, the ghost and just the again to take a picture, you send it, and this ghost is like ha
Right.
ha ha ha. I hear you. I'm 37 now, and there's certain technologies that I see. It's flipped. I see technologies that are being used and written about, and
Mm-hmm.
I look at it from the snarky analytic, perspective
Mm-hmm.
of okay, it probably got funded because of X. It's the same possible venture capital firm. This person invested in Y before. So I
Right.
look at it more of a high level business perspective as to the why it's getting press and funding. And most people aren't thinking that way. I understand it, but I wonder how many of these things will be fads and go away. Um, but who knows? I mean, but to your point, you stayed ahead of your kids on certain technologies, and then things change. But one technology, and I can just talk all night to you, but one technology I want to make sure we talk about, quite frankly, is Google Glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I haven't, used Google Glass. You work at Google. Let's preface this, everyone, for this episode and moving forward. I'll be very blunt. I have some really, really amazing, interesting women in my life across the board. Developers, salespeople, marketing people, entrepreneurs, moms, non-moms. And one thing that this shows good respect is where we all work and what we do for a living and the clients we represent. And, Britton does work for Google, but before she talks, just because she works at Google doesn't mean, there isn't much she can even tell us about, in general. And
Sure.
you'll have my friends on from different companies, different brands, and what have you, and the same rule applies. So, she will tell us what she can about Glass, but before we get questions and emails about XYZ, what she's going to talk about right now is probably all that she can say. So,
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, Glass is super cool, and I actually have a different perspective. While I can't really talk personally about Glass, I can actually talk about my husband's experience with it because I had nothing to do with this, but my husband actually got picked for the Glass Explorers program. So he
wow.
was one of the people that, put it on Google Plus and tweeted if I had Glass and what he would do with it. So he was one of the 10,000 people in the U.S. that got picked to check out Glass. My husband's really enjoyed having them. I think what he likes is that immediacy.
Yeah.
I hear him, because we're in the car and we're talking all the time. I hear him answering quick emails.
Mm-hmm.
I hear him doing some quick Google searches. I know he gets, the weather's there and, all these. There's only a few apps right now. So there's things
Mm-hmm.
like CNN, I think New York Times. You can get weather, Twitter, Facebook, some things. But it's all, it's not,
Yeah.
obviously the UX is not just full GUI, WYSIWYG type stuff. I just used a whole lot of letters there that a lot of people may not know.
Oh, yeah, GUI, yeah, graphic user interface.
Yes, WYSIWYG just stands for what you see is what you get. But yeah, I mean, he's really enjoying having them, and I kind of equate it to because we went to Tech Week together. I went with
Mm-hmm.
Christian, and you saw him there. It's my husband, and he had them on, and I felt like his handler. He couldn't walk 5 steps without having
Yeah,
someone
I
stop him
saw.
and ask him about, well, are those, because not a lot of people in Chicago have them. In San Francisco and the Bay Area in California, you see a lot more people that have them. But in Chicago, there's just not a lot of people that got picked for the Glass Explorers program. 5 steps, somebody would talk to him. Oh, and then, of course, it's like having a puppy. but it's like having a puppy that no one's ever seen before. So, all walls
Yeah, I mean, it
are
is.
brown. People want
It's
to
a
talk
wicked
to
tech.
you and pet him, and like, yeah, it's crazy.
I'm excited to try them. My first inclination when I heard of glass was wearing them, and when I moved to the city in 1998, and when I moved here, my grandmother, love her, she's like my grandmother's me but older. She had said, okay, always watch your back whenever you go someplace. So I imagine myself wearing these Google Glass, things, and walking around the city. So God forbid something, if someone tries to wrong me, I'm like using the glass to get photos. Just
Right.
imagine myself just doing one of these and just but I know that there's more practical applications. And now I know we've been gosh, talking a while. We have one viewer, whoever you are. Hello. We're gonna get to the you if you whoever is watching right now live, you really probably should get glass of something. I think Britain's
We're
white. I'm doing something red. So we do have some things, and because of me drinking some wine, I've had some microphone issues. So if you hear me heavy breathing, I'm sorry. Um, what we want to talk about next. So this is the part of the show that we're going to start. I have to name it. Makes a meme. Make our little meme. But
yeah.
The LTT pick, or what type of gadget or technology we dig. And one of the things that I'll talk about quickly is don't have one yet, but it's the Pebble Watch. When I was at Motorola, I worked on the rollout of Moto Active, which was this amazing watch, which let you answer phone calls. It tracked your. It was like a mini. It was a pedometer, and it tracked your golf swing, and it was a great device. But there's so many other types of versions now in the marketplace. One of them is Pebble, and Pebble. You can Google Pebble Watch. We'll put it in the liner notes to this cast. We'll put a link to the site. It was started by Kickstarter, and it's a customizable watch, but it's Android and iPhone. I'm an Android user, FYI, and it lets you change the watch faces. It lets you look at your different ways you want to get your text messages. Again, if you just joined us or you missed the first part, it's about customization, and I really am interested in how this watch is going to do. Namely, because they were on pre-order at Best Buy, and supposedly the pre-order, gone. And it makes me wonder about hype, right? It makes me wonder about quantity and did they really sell out or not? I used to wear a lot of jewelry because in high school I worked at a place called Accessory Place. I did. And I tell you, in high school, I had the hats, the scarves, the jewelry. I have the long ear holes to prove how
Yeah.
heavy the earrings were.
Yeah.
It was the 90s. I mean, come on,
Right.
downtown Julie Brown was my beau diggity. The J Lo and the Fly Girls in A Living Color, so want to be her. And I would watch the outfits on Sunday. I would tape the show, learn the dance steps, and then go to Contempo and try and find the outfit to match.
Contempo, I love you.
Remember,
Contempo
um,
casuals.
Contempo casuals, or remember La something, La Chateau.
Ah.
Le Chateau, yes. But anyhow, going back to the watches, so I don't wear a lot of jewelry now. I have two kids, love them. Husbands purchase jewelry for me, love it, but I don't wear a lot because I just want to get and go. And I don't wear a watch. And I'm
Mm.
really, I'm always looking at my phone for the time, my text. So that's why I'm looking at Pebble or a solution like Pebble as an everyday watch to look down and check the time and check the weather and look at messaging. I have nicer watches that I wear out, but heck, even on a date or a business meeting, I forget to wear my nicer watch
Yeah.
because it's another thing to put on. So would you wear Pebble? Would you wear something like that? I know that other companies are talking about smartwatches. I think like Apple, maybe Samsung. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about wearables right now. That's all you're hearing about between,
Yeah,
glass or Pebble or whatever,
yeah.
any sort of, wearable internet-enabled device. I think Pebble's super cool. What the research that I did on it, it seems like it's e-ink, kind of like the Kindle or something like that back in the day
Yeah.
before they went color. So I like the fact that it's one of those things that, there's no glare and you would actually be able to see a few things. I haven't ever played with
Mhm.
one, so I'd want to see. I am a watch
Yeah.
wearer. I think that just shows my age. I do look at my phone every so often, but I feel naked without my watch.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
do I think I would need an extra device that would, I've got a phone, I have my computer. I'm rarely without a tablet, a computer, or a phone, like ever. So I just wonder if how much utility a watch like that would bring me. That's my question.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. When I had the Moto Active, I did enjoy having, but it was still another apparatus because I would have this connected via Bluetooth to my phone. So
Hmm.
when I would go running, but then I'd go running and I'd have my phone connected to my watch, and my phone, is back here. The days that I would have time to go running, but whatever. Put it behind here, and I'd get a phone call. And if I had the Bluetooth headset, I could then enter the call when I'm
Yep.
huffing and puffing, and so that was neat. And
If
to be
it's a
able to see
heart rate
text.
monitor, I could get
Yeah,
down with a heart rate
yeah.
monitor for
Moto
sure
Active
because
was, yeah.
then I don't have my phone with me usually when I'm on the treadmill or on some sort of whatever. So if that I could see that, but if my phone would probably have to be close to me if it was Bluetooth and that was how I was
Yeah.
getting the data, blah blah blah. So I don't, jury's still out on that, but I'm always up for a new gadget. No shock.
Well, speaking of gadgets, that was my pick. What
Yes.
about yours? What floats your tech boat this week?
I really am in love with my Nest learning thermostat. I don't know
Mm,
how if you have
yeah,
one but gosh, we've had ours
we
now
do.
for probably about 6 months, and I have gotten addicted to changing my temperature from my phone when I'm away from the house. So the concept of
Oh,
Nest,
nice.
it's basically like an iPhone, an iOS looking interface on a thermostat for your house. So
Okay.
it's connected to your Wi-Fi in your house, and it's a learning thermostat in the sense that it actually senses when you're away most, when you're home most, and it learns your patterns, and it eventually will just create a schedule for you based on how you're in and out of the house. Now you can obviously
Oh, that's
set your
awesome.
you can
Yeah.
set your own schedules, right? So it's not like you don't have the option. You can set your own schedules.
Hmm.
There's also auto away. So if it senses that you're away for a good amount of time, it can just automatically change to the temperature that you've set as your auto away temperature. And
Okay.
so it, in theory, is saving you money. So you earn these leaves, you earn these little green leaves, and you get a report every month in your email that says you've earned 6 leaves this month. On average, people
Okay.
learned like this, this many leaves this month. But it also will show you in your report like you were above average on your usage, but in your area the temperatures were higher that month.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it can show you all of these things. It knows the temperature in your area, so it knows if maybe you used more wattage because the temperature was up, or maybe you were just having hot flashes. Who knows? But it'll send you this report, and you kind of want to earn a leaf. You kind of want to
Yeah.
earn this efficiency. But I can change the temperature from my phone. I can change it from my tablet. I can change it from my desktop. So if we are away from the house and biking and we're super hot or whatever, and I know I want to come home to like a refrigerator, basically, I can just get on my phone real quick and pull the temperature down a couple degrees, and by the time we get home, it's super chill. So I love it.
And then, so is the upfront cost to install Nest? So before I forget, I think the Pebble Watch, I think it was 250. I think it was a higher
Mhm.
price point. I think it's in the twos. So
Yeah.
what's the price range of installing Nest in your home?
Nest is about the same. So it's a
Okay.
self-install. You just have to make sure that you have a certain kind of wires, and it's real easy to install.
Oh,
But it was in the 250. You can get them at Lowe's. Lowe's was one of
get
the
out.
distributors, or you can order them online. And then if you
Okay.
have any problems, you can call someone and they can help you with an install. It comes with its own. It's very much the packaging is very much like you'd expect,
Okay.
an Apple product to come in. It's very pretty and clean, and it's really awesome. Customer service has been great. It's a little company that's grown, and it's kind of you just want to. I don't know if they started through Kickstarter, but they're not a very big company, but the product is sensational. I actually learned about it. Kevin Rose talked about it once. I remember, and I was like, this thing, it's awesome.
Everyone I know that installs them, they completely fall in love with them because of,
Yeah.
just again, it seems like the theme of, today's first chat when it comes to, utility, customization, do it yourself. When it comes to, we talked about laser
Right.
printing and clothes before. We talked about the thermostat, talked about different apps and things as women, as moms that we would like that speak to us. And I'm hoping that all of this maybe bubbles to, well, it'll take a while, right? It takes a while for people that are heavy users of technology to get to the masses, but at some point we have to accept and be okay with technology and other things talking to different devices and components of our homes to let our world be more efficient. Because at the end of the day, if I can save more cash, if I can save more cash across the board in running my home, and put that savings into another trip to Paris or a little cottage someplace, I
Right.
really don't mind that Zappos or Nordstrom knows that I am a size 7.5 shoe person and I have a fetish for the color red. I really don't mind if in the end it's going to get me what I need. So,
Absolutely. I think everyone's going to have to figure out what their level of openness is going to be when it
yeah.
comes to technology and the pervasiveness that we have on all of the different things that we are connected to and use. Like, what are your comfortability level? And I think it's going to be different for everyone. No surprise, it should
Mhm.
be.
Yeah.
But I think for those of us that are a little bit more on the wired set, I'm willing to give up a little bit about myself because I'm going to get more on the back end.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean that's the question for the show in future episodes in terms of, what people want to know, what you want to know, what concerns you, which brings me to the wrap up of the show. I think we did a poll just so you're aware, and people that are watching and that will watch. How long do you want a show to be? A lot of folks said 20, 30 minutes, and I thought that was interesting. But I'm a big viewer of Leo Laporte's network. I love Leo. Leo, one day, Leo. Petaluma, California. You could be in your cottage in your studio in Petaluma, California. Call in. Amber Mack, you can call in. Callie Lewis, you can call in anytime. Scoble, anytime. But if but all those shows are like an hour and a half. This Week in Google can go over an hour, and something tells me just from this first chat of us riffing and talking about different things, and having different topics circle back to our original thought. I really think this could go an easy hour, especially if we have more women joining us every week, which we'll be doing next week. It looks like Sunday nights, 8 o'clock Central, is going to be our time. And if you have any questions for us or someone that you think should be on the show that we should chat with that's incorporating technology, whether it's a Square app or whether it's a way they run their business, or if they're an up-and-coming entrepreneur and you think they've got something to say and would love to chat, let us know. This really isn't a private club per se. I just, as I mentioned before, happen to know a lot of fabulous, interesting, technology-driven types of women that have a lot to say and share, and that's why we're having this forum to quite frankly serve an underserved market, in my eyes, of women that really know this stuff but may not have a place to talk about it every day. Aside from, I saw Britain at Tech Week, I saw Britain at 1871 in the Merchandise Mart, and I have these snippets with these women in my life, but I would come home and I would think, damn, I just be nice to have more time with them at that bar or at that networking event and talk about this. So, Britton, I want to say thank you. You said yes. First episode. Thank you so much.
My
It was.
pleasure.
I hope you'll
Absolutely.
come back. I really hope you'll come back. This was
Without a doubt. Listen, as long as I can bring my wine, and as long
good.
as you promise to have your wine, honey, I'm
Yeah.
here. Whenever you want
Okay.
me. I'm
We
empty
all.
nesting for having sex. For heaven's sakes. It's time.
That's awesome. Okay. And one last thing we'll say, and I'll preface this in what I'll put on YouTube and whatnot. Be prepared to watch the show. It is a mini party. We are women and we tend to talk about different topics. This is not going to be just hard-nosed journalism, though we will talk about things. We're going to go amongst different topics and have a good time because technology shouldn't be so scary, especially on a Sunday night having wine. So, Britton, thank you.
Thank
This
you,
ends our
doll.
broadcast. I'll send a link to YouTube for you when it's up and going. Have a good night.
Ciao.
Bye.